So good afternoon, everyone. So we're going to discuss about the second to the last topic, which is your chest pathology, or what we call as your chest pathologies for pulmonary neoplasm. Remember, we have discussed previously yung pulmonary first part of your pathology, which is your pulmonary infections and other pathogens. Now we're going to discuss about your pulmonary neoplasms. Okay. So for solitary pulmonary nodule, so it is a radiologic evaluation of your solitary pulmonary nodule remains one of the most common and most difficult diagnostic dilemmas in your thoracic radiology. So for example, in this case, you saw a soft tissue opacity seen at the right lower lung, as seen in this image. And the evaluation of your solitary pulmonary nodules should be done using the following consideration. Is the lesion truly solitary? Is the lesion intrapulmonary? Or even is the lesion a nodule? Pag sinabi natin is the lesion intrapulmonary, is it seen within the lung parenchyma or outside the lung parenchyma or extrathoracic? In this case, you will appreciate that the lesion is seen intrapulmonary. And in order to confirm the diagnosis, you need to do another view, which is your lateral view. So it is seen at the left lower lung, and you need to categorize it. If it's within or outside the pulmonary or lung parenchyma. As in this image, it's seen at the anterior mediastinum. Is the lesion a nodule? Remember, if it's a low nodule, the mass should be less than 3 centimeters. If it's greater than 3 centimeters, we can consider it as mass. Again, pag nodule, less than 3 centimeters. Pag mass, more than 3 centimeters. So we have this case. You saw a soft tissue opacity seen at the left upper lobe of your frontal projection. In order to distinguish if it's extrathoracic or intrathoracic, you could do a lateral view or better yet, do a CT scan. In this case, you will appreciate that the mass is seen outside the lung parenchyma. Therefore, it's extrapulmonary. Now, to measure for this one, the measurement for this one, by eyeballing alone, you will distinguish that it's more than 3 centimeters. So therefore, it is a lung mass. However, it was diagnosed with your neurofibromatosis during biopsy. Next, another example, is this a nodule? Lesion a nodule? If you look closely, the opacity is seen within the ribs or the posterior aspect of the ribs. So a CT scan was done showing callus formation within the rib parenchyma, within the rib within the rib. So this is more of a previous old fracture. Another is we have a solitary pulmonary nodule as confirmed by your CT scan. So it is seen intrapulmonary and the size is less than 3 centimeters. So definitely, this is a solitary pulmonary nodule. If you look at the borders, it's more of your popcorn-like configuration. Again, we'll describe it later. So now, the definition of your solitary pulmonary nodule is an opacity completely stable in size for more than 2 years, which is considered benign and further evaluation is unnecessary. If the solitary pulmonary nodule is new or enlarging, we need a series of investigation to determine whether the nodule has benign features, high suspicion for malignancy, or even indeterminate. So in assessing for your solitary pulmonary nodules, we need to have these clinical factors or their a better clinical history. So for example, we have this patient less than 35 years old, non-smoker without history of malignancy. Then you saw a solitary pulmonary nodule. The differentials at this time could be granuloma, hamartoma, and even your inflammatory lesion. You could follow up it with plain radiograph if you will appreciate that there's enlargement of these nodules. If the patient is greater than 35 years old, current, or recent smoker with significant incidence of malignant solitary pulmonary nodule, that's more than 50%. So that's you have these clinical symptoms or clinical factors such as your current or recent smoker that's greater than 35 years old. Definitely, we're high suspicion for malignancy. Then after that, you should never be followed up radiographically without tissue confirmation. If we saw the solitary pulmonary nodule and you have these clinical risk factors, whether you saw it in your X-ray or whether you saw it in your CT scan, it is better to do it with tissue confirmation. So, kailangan natin siya i-biopsy. Unless it has a benign patterns of calcifications or even presence of your intrasolutional fat or even lack of growth over the minimum of 2 years. There's also other clinical factors such as your solitary pulmonary nodule in patient with an extrathoracic malignancy, which has a high possibility of your solitary pulmonary metastases. Solitary pulmonary nodule that arises greater than 2 years after the diagnosis of your extrathoracic malignancy is almost always a primary lung tumor rather than your metastases. So these are the clinical factors that we considered for your diagnosis for solitary pulmonary nodule. The growth pattern is one of the characteristics that we should look for or we should assess when we're talking about your solitary pulmonary nodule. The growth rate are expressed in your doubling time or the time it takes for the nodule to double its volume. So the doubling time of less than 1 month or greater than 2 years are characterized as solid lesions as benign. So lack of growth or a doubling time of greater than 2 years can you consider the following differentials: your hematoma or your histoplasmomas. Giant cell carcinoma, a subtype of your large cell carcinoma, or your pulmonary carcinosarcoma, blastomas, may have a doubling time of less than 1 month. If the pulmonary adenocarcinoma or carcinoid tumor may have doubling time of greater than 2 years. The size is also distinguished as part of your lung nodule or lung parenchyma. So, if you have this Flesher Society guidelines for the management of your small incidental lung nodules provided us this table on how we're going to categorize these nodules. So, for example, if it's less than or 4 millimeters, in low-risk patient, no follow-up is needed. Pag sinabi natin low-risk patients, less than 35, hindi siya recent smoker. If there's a high-risk patient, in greater than 35, there's a high recent smoker, the previous or recent smoker, at the same time, history of your lung carcinoma. So, yun yung distinguish for your low and high-risk patients. If greater than 4 to 6 months yung nodule niya, we follow up it with your CT scan at least 12 months. Balik tayo. If it's less than or 4 millimeters, in low-risk patients, no follow-up is needed. Pero if it's on your high-risk patients, nodules is less than 4 millimeters, 4 or equal to 4 millimeters, we do follow up at 12 months. If it's greater than 4 to 6 months, we follow up the CT scan at least 12 months for low-risk patient. For high-risk patient, we follow up follow-up CT scan must be done in 6 to 12 months, then 18 to 24 months. Then if the nodule is greater than 6 to 8 months, 6 to 8 millimeters rather, in low-risk patients, we follow up it at 6 to 12 months, then 18 to 24 months. But if it's high-risk patients in a 6 to 8 millimeter size nodule, we follow up it at 3 to 6 months, then 9 to 12 months, and even to 24 months. So remember this table. So the size does not reliably discriminate the malignancy from benign to malignancy solitary pulmonary nodules. But a larger lesion that is greater than 4 centimeters in diameter is almost always malignant. So for the borders, we also look in your solitary pulmonary nodule, the borders it contains. So for example, in a round on smooth nodule, if considering a benign nodule, therefore the differentials could be granuloma or hematoma. In a round smooth nodule in a suspicious malignancy, the differentials are your rare primary pulmonary malignancy, carcinoid tumors, adenocarcinomas, or even your solitary metastases. If it's not sure lobulated, in benign suspicion, that's more of your hamartomas. But if it's malignant, you have a malignant suspicion, it's more of your carcinoid tumors and some bronchogenic carcinomas. Especially in your speculated, there's a high suspicion of malignancy in these cases. So therefore, you're highly considering malignancy. However, there are some nodules that can be appreciated in your infectious process. If you're considering a more of infectious, one of the differentials could be lipoid pneumonia, organizing pneumonia, or even your tuberculoma. So again, biopsy is highly suggested in these cases. So this is an example of a smooth border a lobulated border, and your spiculated border. This will be better be assessed with the use of your HRCT. Other margins or edges could be your corona radiata and your pleural tail. The corona radiata is used to describe the spiculated appearance, which is defined as linear densities radiating from the edge of the nodule into your adjacent lung. Pag mga pleural tail naman, it's preferably situated solitary pulmonary nodule that has contact within the costal pleura or interlobar fissures via a linear opacities. If we look at these two, they are both highly suspicious for malignancy. In a nodule, if there's a presence of small satellite nodules that is seen around the periphery of your dominant nodule, remember that is strongly suggestive of your benign lesion. The density or the internal density of your small solitary pulmonary nodule is probably the single most important factor in characterizing the lesion as benign or indeterminate. The lesions that are calcified are almost always benign. So we have these four patterns of benign calcifications. So we have your complete or central calcification, which is specific for Hill granuloma from tuberculosis or histoplasmosis. We have also your concentric or laminated calcifications that can be seen in your granuloma. Then we have this popcorn calcification, which is diagnostic for pulmonary hematoma, in which cartilaginous component has calcified. So the four patterns of benign calcification includes your complete or central calcification, concentric or laminated calcification, and your popcorn calcifications. So these are examples of your central, diffuse, laminated, and popcorn-like calcifications. Then approximately most of your benign features of calcification, we have this other 10% malignant presentation for calcification. We have what we call as your eccentric calcification that is seen in your bronchogenic carcinoma, and the small or microscopic foci of calcification that is seen on your adenocarcinoma. So these are the examples of your indeterminate patterns naman of calcification. So we have this high malignancy, then indeterminate. So for your indeterminate patterns of calcification, we have the stippled and eccentric. So it describes as a nodule does not show a benign pattern of calcification and has not been stable in size after greater than 2 years of follow-up. Therefore, cannot be immediately categorized into benign or malignant groups. So this is an example of a density of a solitary pulmonary nodule with fat densities. So in cases of your fat densities, medyo may itim-itim sa loob ng nodule, this can be considered or categorized as pulmonary hamartomas. Lastly, in your density of the nodules, if there's a presence of your bubbly lucencies or the air bronchogram within a solitary pulmonary nodule, it's a high suspicion for your adenocarcinoma, as seen in this image. So you will appreciate that the pointed structures shows the branching lucencies or the bubbly lucencies rather, seen within the solitary pulmonary nodule. If you saw this one, this is highly suggestive for your adenocarcinoma. So in your solitary pulmonary nodule, if you saw or indistinguish your solitary pulmonary nodule, what will you do next as a future clinician? Compare it with other previous radiograph. Check nyo kung lumalaki ba siya, nag-iiba ba yung itsura niya throughout, or dati ba wala, ngayon malaki na. Yun yung mga kailangan natin with your previous radiograph. Then if we saw this one by radiograph, do a CT scan so that you could assess better the borders, the size, the density of your solitary pulmonary nodules. And there you will appreciate what to do next. Will you do histopathological correlation or you need to absorb it furthermore? So ito yung examples of a malignant spiculated border that is seen in your right upper lobe. The following topics we're going to discuss about the most common tumors, malignant tumors being seen in your lung parenchyma. First and foremost, we have what we call as your bronchogenic carcinoma. It is a malignant neoplasm that arises from the bronchial or alveolar epithelium. So we have these four main histologic subtypes for your bronchogenic carcinoma. We have your adenocarcinoma, the squamous cell carcinoma, the small cell carcinoma, and the large cell carcinoma. When you speak of your adenocarcinoma, it is the most common type of your lung cancer, which is seen at 1/3 of all the bronchogenic carcinomas. The most common subtype of your adenocarcinoma is seen on your non-smokers. So it's found to occur more on the lung periphery. 1/4 cases are seen in the central portion. Irregular speculated appearances are seen with your adenocarcinoma with associated fibrosis and arises from the bronchiolar alveolar epithelium. So the survival rate for your adenocarcinoma in a 5-year follow-up is around 17%. So this is the gross picture showing your allocation of your adenocarcinoma. By radiograph, you will appreciate that it's seen in the periphery, being pointed by the arrow, with speculations. Another example that is seen in the upper lobes with the with speculations. This will be better be assessed with the use of your CT scan. Will you appreciate that the borders of this adenocarcinoma has irregular or speculated appearance? Likewise, you will appreciate the bubbly lucency that we discussed previously that we correlate to the presence of your adenocarcinomas. Next is we have your squamous cell carcinoma. It is the second most common subtype of your bronchogenic carcinoma that arises centrally within the lobar or your segmental bronchus. Remember the word centrally within a lobar or segmental bronchus. Your adenocarcinoma, it is seen along the lung periphery. Adenocarcinoma, lung periphery. Your squamous cell carcinoma arises within a lobar or segmental bronchus. So there's a possibility that you could see your central necrosis seen in your squamous cell carcinoma. And the radiographic findings for squamous cell carcinoma includes a hilar mass with or without obstructed pneumonitis or your atelectasis. And the 5-year survival rate for your squamous cell carcinoma is around 15%. So this is an example of the gross picture showing your squamous cell carcinoma. As seen in this image, you will appreciate that there's a mass being seen along the parahilar region of the lung, right parahilar region of the lung parenchyma. Next is we have your small cell carcinoma. So the small cell carcinoma arises centrally within the main or lobar bronchi. Remember, your squamous cell carcinoma is centrally within a lobar or segmental bronchus. Your squamous cell carcinoma arises centrally within the main and lobar bronchi. So it's the most malignant neoplasm that arises from your bronchial neuroendocrine cells or called Schistke cells. And it produces a hilar or mediastinal mass with intrinsic bronchial compression. So the 5-year survival rate for this one is 5%. So this is an example of a gross picture showing your small cell carcinoma. Another association with your radiograph. So in this radiograph, you will appreciate that the bronchial mass or the mass, small cell mass, is seen along the left upper lobe together with arising centrally within the main bronchus, as seen in this image. Next is we have your large cell carcinoma, 15% of the bronchogenic carcinoma. It arises periphery as a large solitary mass. Majority are cigarette smokers over 40 years and commonly affect the male patients. So the 5-year survival rate for this large cell carcinoma is 11%. So this is the gross picture showing your large cell carcinoma, as seen in this picture here. So you will appreciate that the opacity, a large opacity is seen along the lung parenchyma. Then furthermore, you will appreciate that there's progression of the mass seen. Another example of a mass seen along the right side. So thank you and good luck on your midterms exam.